This is the 6th generation Renault Clio. It's one of Renault's biggest selling cars, so the launch of a new generation is pretty prominent in its history. This one looks quite distinctive, like nothing else in the Renault range, arguably. It's got these highly unusual headlight cutouts that kind of push out through the bodywork, and the designer told us that some of the bodywork is designed a bit like a spoon going through chocolate mousse. See what you think. The front, I must admit, I'm not 100% sold on as yet. Other people have different opinions. Let me see what you think. Tell us in the comments below. As well as these distinctive main lights, below you have these daytime running lights, and it's actually half of the Renault Diamond. You can see that there. And that is also an effect that carries through this whole grille. So it starts here where there's no openings, carries all the way through to the middle where there are openings. And this central grille is probably the most divisive aspect for me. It has openings, obviously. This is an internal combustion engine car, but this grille is actually a little bit different depending which model you go for. This is a Techno, and above it is the Esprit Alpine. We've got these really sculpted bonnet detailing here, and overall the nose is quite a bit longer than the previous car. In terms of dimensions, the car itself is a little bit longer, not massively so, but it gives it a little bit more space. Other distinctive design highlights. Check out these new wheel arches. These are gloss black in this particular model, and that shows off these wheels to good effect. These particular ones are 18-inch rims. Now, the Clio can come with 16 or 18-inch alloy wheels this time around. This is the Techno model on 18-inch rims. I suspect by the time it comes to Ireland, the Techno model might be on the smaller wheels, better for comfort, which I'll talk about later on. Side profile of the car is actually quite sporty. I think no matter what you think of the front of it, it's hard not to like the side. You've got a swooping roofline, but also because the door handle is hidden just here, it means it looks even sportier. It looks almost coupe-like. And that's probably accentuated again back here by this black roof spoiler. The rear view is actually my favourite. I really like these two separate lights. It's very much harks back to sports cars and what have you, but also the effect that, you know, they come out of the bodywork. It's a bit like the old Megane in some ways, but I think it's quite distinctive and quite unique to the Clio. There's lots of other sculpting going on in here as well. It's a really interesting shape overall. I think that's one of the reasons people will go for it. It is a 5-door hatchback. It will only be a 5-door hatchback this time around. Anyway, let's see what it's like inside, because one of the pillars Renault says that holds up the new Clio is technology. Inside, the Clio is familiar in some ways. It's got some Renault bits and pieces. This steering wheel, for instance, looks like it might have come straight from the Scenic. Up front, you have this Google-based dashboard. 10-inch touchscreen is standard. Digital instruments, that's all standard and familiar. But this Clio is a step above what has come before from Clios. It's much higher quality. Now, we're in a mid-range model, so it's a Techno model. So above this is the Esprit Alpine, as I said, and yet this one is of very high quality, very high specification. There's nice materials. You've got this cloth tactile all across the dashboard. There's ambient lighting. The steering wheel itself is really nice to hold, and all the switchgear is really solid. So that's a big tick in this car's book. On top of all that, as I mentioned, the technology. This Google-based dashboard is really intuitive to use, really easy to use. You don't even have to have a smartphone paired with it to use the Google apps, and that's a nice bonus. You can, of course, pair up your smartphone, and it works very well too. In front of us, we have standard steering wheel, as I said. You also have plenty of stalks, normal stalks, which we're glad to see. The drive selector is a stalk as well, and it works quite intuitively, and we're really happy to see that Renault has added a park button on the end. It's something that's missing from some of its models. Perhaps it is listening to feedback, and it's going to give us that from now on. Just as importantly, there's a good infotainment system and everything here, but there's also a bank of physical controls down here for the heating and ventilation, and it's something we talk about a lot because it's much safer to use. The Clio, as ever, is a relatively small 5-door hatchback, but it's quite practical up front, and this centre console, while it's not very high, which is great for making the car feel spacious, it's got lots of storage features in it. Wireless phone charger up front, we're always very happy to see that. Got 2 USB-C ports there, and a little slot here. Well, this is the key in there at the moment, but you don't probably have to keep that there. This looks like it's covered up and you're wondering what is underneath, and it's kind of a metallic magnetized cover, a bit like iPads, an iPad cover. In here you've got your expected cup holders, but there's actually a bit more space than a normal cup holder there. Underneath you've got the armrest, underneath the armrest rather, there is more storage, and there's also a glove box. Now, the seats themselves, they look really good and they're really comfortable. We've spent plenty of time in them today, and plenty of comfort and support in the sides in particular, I noticed. This passenger seat has ISOFIX points as well, so even though it's not a particularly massive car, it's quite easy to put a child seat here, slide it back, turn off the airbag, and you'll have the child or baby right next to you, which is always a bonus. This Clio is a little bit longer in the wheelbase than the previous one, so rear seat space is a bit more generous than before. Let's be realistic though, it is still a B segment hatchback, so you're not expecting to get big families in it. The boot isn't bad though, it holds 309 litres, which is about on par for the class, and it's plenty. The rear seats fold down as well, so if you really do need to carry something bulkier, there is the option to do that. One thing you notice when you get into the Clio at first is, besides quality, which I think is worth emphasizing again, when you're driving, it's quite firm at first on these urban roads. Now, we're in Portugal, not too far from Lisbon, and the road surfaces are actually very similar to Irish roads, so Renault hasn't brought us along to some marble smooth roads to show that its car off too much. So yeah, the road surface is very representative, very, very similar to Ireland, quite pockmarked, and in town there's a lot of manhole covers and potholes and everything. And the Clio feels initially almost a little bit too firm. It had us worrying maybe a little bit. I will say that this particular car is sitting on the largest wheels you can get for the car, which are 18-inch rims, and it's on Continental tyres, I know as well, if that's worth thinking about. The entry-level cars will be on 16-inch wheels, so they'll have higher profile tyres and should be a little bit more comfortable. However, even though it had that initial firmness around town, it was a bit surprising. It is fine when you're up to speed. Going over some cobbles here, I don't know if you can hear that, and the car is dealing with it quite well. Out in the motorway, it's very comfortable. The higher speed and the higher speed of the movement, the suspension, all seems to work in its favour very well. And it just lopes along. It's quite comfortable in that situation, actually. And the same on the open road. It feels perfectly comfortable once you're up to speed, and it doesn't feel too firm at all, which is probably a good thing. It isn't supposed to be a hot hatch, it isn't supposed to be a performance car in any way, so people will be expected to be comfortable. I imagine 16-inch wheels make a huge difference, to be honest. What I did notice, however, was that it is kind of almost hot hatch-like the way it drives. It doesn't take long, and you don't need to be driving fast to realise that it's really nice to drive. So it's got decent steering, and I know the steering isn't perfectly circular or anything, but the rim is nice to hold, and the steering itself is quite direct, and there isn't any slop in it, and it just makes the whole car feel a bit agile and biddable. And in faster corners, the body control is exceptional. It doesn't lean very much when you're braking, it doesn't dive when you're accelerating, it doesn't dip. It's just really stable and really well controlled. And the same under heavy braking, the car just feels very controlled all the time, and very stable, but fun, actually. It definitely strikes you as something that's fun to drive. This particular one is the hybrid. Renault has ditched the 1.6 litre hybrid system of old, still called E-Tech hybrid, but now it's the 1.8 litre system, and it's been shown already in a few other Renaults and in the Dacia Bigster, and it produces up to 160 horsepower, which is plenty. This car weighs only under 1,300 kilograms actually, so 160 horsepower is loads, and it's quite perky when you're out on the road, plenty of go. And the beauty of the bigger engine is that it is quieter, it's more refined. So when you are accelerating, it isn't as loud as before. When you're ambling around, it isn't as loud as before. When you're on the motorway, it isn't as loud as before. And it also seems to work better with this quite sophisticated, complicated hybrid gearbox that Renault has, where you have less phantom engine revs that you perhaps might have had before. The overall effect is a car that's just smoother, basically. And despite the fact that the hybrid system has more performance than before, it also is more efficient. The official numbers are one thing, but we've been driving around all day today in big variety of roads, some city streets, some country roads, some motorway work, and we're looking down the barrel of 4.5 litres per 100 kilometres, which is pretty good going, really, for the type of driving we've been doing. As you'd expect in a modern car, even a supermini, there are loads of driving modes. So you have what's called a multi-sense button on the steering wheel here. Interesting, what's new to this car is a smart mode. So you just leave it in the smart setting, and the theory is that it detects what the driver wants. Notice it, so it starts off with smart eco, so it's always trying to be as fuel efficient as possible. But for instance, we took a few corners at higher speed earlier and just, to see how much grip there is and everything. And as we accelerated out of the corners, notice that it changed into the smart sport setting, and there's a bit more response on the accelerator pedal. The steering was just a little bit heavier, and the transmission was, geared for response as well. I thought that was quite interesting. It worked very well, because I don't think most people bother changing driving modes or anything like that. I'm driving through city streets here, and it's quite clogged up with traffic, so we're quite low speed. I don't know if you can hear, there's a specific electronic noise going on because the engine is actually turned off. There is an EV monitor here in the dashboard showing me how much more of the battery there is. It's less than 2 kilowatt hours, the battery pack in this, but it does drive on electric power for much more than its predecessor. And you really notice it at these really low speeds and when you're maneuvering as well. Again, when you're driving on these slow speeds and there's like speed bumps and everything, yeah, the suspension is firm a little bit when you go over them. Some people definitely like a bit more softness there, but the car feels all together, all at peace, and that just makes it feel, again, of high quality. It feels like there's not going to be any rattles or whatever after a few thousand kilometers. It just feels like a polished car, to be honest, and it's definitely taken a step up from the old one in that regard. Now, this hybrid system is automatic, of course, almost all hybrids are, but there will be an entry-level model, and for now at least, unless something changes in the next couple of years, that's probably going to be the most affordable version in Ireland. That uses a 3-cylinder, 1.2 litre petrol engine, 115 horsepower with a manual gearbox. You put your foot down, so you can hear it, but it's not loud. And it also hasn't got that elasticity to the acceleration that you find in some hybrids. Toyota hybrids have been criticised in the past for that, and they've gotten a lot better. And this doesn't have that at all. So when you accelerate like that, it feels quite direct, the connection between the accelerator pedal and the powertrain and the wheels. Some hybrid systems feel almost elastic, where what you're doing with the accelerator pedal isn't really reflected in the performance that the car is producing. But this isn't like that, thankfully. And it makes for a more rewarding drive overall. You're also never in doubt that it's got 160 horsepower. It's got plenty of go, and the beauty of it is that the electric motor helps at low speed, so it actually makes it feel more powerful again when you're not, when you're not pushing on, when you're not revving the engine high trying to get peak performance or anything. You're just pulling out of a junction or what have you. So the engine itself doesn't need to work very hard in that situation, because the electric motor can help, and electric motors deliver maximum torque from standstill, unlike engines, and that really helps a car like this. In summary then, time behind the wheel, the Clio surprises with how sporty it is to drive. That doesn't mean it's only for enthusiasts, or indeed might not even be for enthusiasts at all. It's just for people that get into their car and can't tell you why they like to drive the car, but they like to drive it. And the Clio is like that. It's a pleasant car to drive. All the major driving controls are well weighted, responsive, direct, and it's just a car that's pleasant to drive around. The hybrid system seems to be really efficient as well, which is a big bonus. And the car itself is polished. So it's taken a big step up from its predecessor, despite the fact that there aren't actually many rivals left to it. Well, that's our first drive in the new Renault Clio. It's a very impressive supermini. There aren't many of them left in the world. So will there still be demand when it arrives in 2027? I expect there will. It feels almost like a hot hatch. As I said when I was out driving, it doesn't feel like a soft, cheap, entry-level hatchback. It certainly isn't that. It feels very high quality. It's taken a big step up from the previous Clio in that way. It drives in quite an agile, fun manner. It's almost taking over the mantle of the old Ford Fiesta. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comments, and if you want to read a detailed review of the Clio, pop along to our website. It's CompleteCar.ie, and it's a great resource for finding your next new car.